Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Daily. It's Friday, July 1st, here with Greg Lawless. I'm Nick Forshaw, the last day before a long holiday weekend, Greg, but there's a lot of action to get to on national TV and elsewhere. Let's start on Saturday up in Canada, the final of the Nutrilite Canadian Championship. Toronto and Vancouver, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. You can find that on Rogers Sportsnet up in Canada or follow along on MLSsoccer.com. What do you see from this one?
Well, they're playing for the second time in about 3 days here because remember they played on Wednesday night. Toronto got the win 1-0 in that one. Now they go into the second leg of the NCC final to determine who will make it into the CONCACAF Champions League. And Nick, this is going to be a match, I think, where Vancouver have rested some of their big boys on Wednesday. They're coming all guns blazing for this one. Tom Sohn and the Whitecaps have said that they're very, very adamant about making it into the CCL where they can start to prove themselves on an international level. Toronto, on the other hand, there's a great mood around them. Obviously, the big signings of Torsten Frings and Danny Couvermans have buoyed their spirits there. Plus, the win over Vancouver on Wednesday has helped them a lot. When you think about Nick Stuhlsma getting the goal and the penalty, Joao Plata had a good game, and they kept a clean sheet. So I think this is a match that will be very difficult for both teams, but I actually think Toronto will end up getting the victory at home at BMO.
And Greg, you mentioned those two DPs. Obviously, they're not eligible for this game, but nonetheless, I think you're right. The big star is going to show up for this game. Let's move on to Saturday night, some MLS action. DC and Philadelphia. This another one of those I-95 rivalries. Philadelphia won this rivalry last year. 7 p.m. Fox Soccer. You can follow along on a live chat on MLSsoccer.com. What do you see out of this one?
Well, this one I think is really all about De Rosario. Will Dwayne De Rosario play for DC? I think he will. And where will he play for DC? More likely he's going to be that attacking second forward in there. It's something they've been lacking. We'll see what his chemistry is like with Chris Pontius, who's having a fantastic season for United right now. Philadelphia, on the other hand, such a great back line, but as we've been talking about sort of all week, we talked about on Extra Time, what's up with their attack. Sebastian Letou saying he'd rather play forward alongside Danny Mwenga. At the same time, you have Paunovic, who's starting to show a little bit. You start Carlos Ruiz, will he be back in the lineup? So they have a lot of options. If anybody in this league knows how to handle a player like Letou who's coming out and speaking, it's Peter Novak. He's going to put his foot down. They're in first place in the East. Why rock the boat at this point?
And again, don't forget the Philadelphia Union, first place in the Eastern Conference. It seems like every week their grip is lost or won over the New York Red Bulls. And the team we're going to talk about next, and that's the Columbus Crew. They're at FC Dallas, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can follow along on Matchday Live on MLSsoccer.com. Greg, this is a great FC Dallas team at home against a Crew team that has really put it together in recent weeks.
It really is, and the key for the Columbus Crew, it's Mendoza. He's been having a terrific stretch lately, lots of goals. He's got a couple of goals last week. He seems to have finally fit in the locker room, which is where they were saying there were some problems for Andres Mendoza, but now there are no problems there. The other one for Columbus to watch out for, Eddie Gavin, starting to play well again on the right flank, doing what he does best, and Robbie Rogers will be back from Gold Cup duty with the U.S. national team, so that's a big lift for them as well. And they're going to be a little bit angry, because remember, they were upset in the U.S. Open Cup on Tuesday night against Richmond, so this is a chance where they can really put a stamp on this season for the Columbus Crew. On the other side, Dallas, just quietly going about their business. Brek Shea having, a season that people are starting to talk about, maybe an MVP candidate here for Brek Shea, because they just continually get the results that they need.
Don't forget, Greg, FC Dallas coming off that 4-0 shellacking over the Portland Timbers, where their offense really exploded and showed what they were all about. Let's take a look out west, where the San Jose Earthquakes play host to the New York Red Bulls. That one's on 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes. You can follow along on the live chat here on MLSsoccer.com. Greg, the stars are back for this one. Guys like Chris Wondolowski, Tim Ream, Juan Agudelo. What do you expect?
Well, this game is going to be played at Stanford Stadium. They're expecting a big crowd out there for this one. And you know what? This is a chance here for the Earthquakes to really make a statement to the league that they are going to be contenders in the Western Conference. If they can beat one of the top teams in the East and they can start to get that attack going, we know their defense is going to be strong, and they can get that attack going, this is a statement for San Jose. On the other side, for New York, it is about getting their stars back. Ream, Agudelo, Thierry Henry. Not sure yet about Luke Rogers, whether he's going to be back. We know that Rafa Marquez will not be back. He's got another couple of weeks with that injury he picked up in the Gold Cup. So right now, it's all about getting Thierry Henry on the end of a ball so that he can start to score. No Dwayne De Rosario in this one, so no more questions about who's sort of the focal point of this attack. It is going to be Thierry Henry, and who's going to set him up? Dane Richards also, he's back from Gold Cup duty as well. He's going to be the one expected to serve the ball in. Will it be Deleuze on the left? That's a question mark that I think Hans Bakke will have to decide who plays out on the left side as well.
And for New York, obviously the debut of Dax McCarty coming over in that DC United trade, so eager to see where he fits in with the Red Bulls. Last but not least, the game on July 4th, the big one, the Seattle Sounders at the LA Galaxy, 10:30 p.m. on ESPN2 and ESPN Deportes. We'll have a live chat here on MLSsoccer.com. Greg, this is the one we've been waiting for. Some bragging rights out in the Western Conference at stake. Two big-time rivals. Is Seattle finally going to break that hex and get some points against the Galaxy?
Well, that's the question everyone's asking, and considering that it's going to be Brian Perk in goal for LA because Donovan Ricketts is out injured, Josh Saunders out with the suspension from the red card last week, it seems like there's a very good chance that Seattle, who are playing very well, several wins in a row now, and they're moving up in the Western Conference, this is their chance to go to Home Depot and get the win. On the other hand, look, this is a Galaxy team that knows how to get results when their backs are against the wall, and let's be honest, you still have Landon Donovan. You have a couple, Omar Gonzalez in the back who can put some things away. David Beckham might be available again. So you've got all these things that are available for LA to continue to do what they do, which is get the results when everybody expects them not to.
Greg, you mentioned Landon Donovan. Obviously, he's back in the Galaxy lineup, and he always seems to play well in these big national spotlight games. There's no bigger one this summer than July 4th, the LA Galaxy playing host to the Seattle Sounders. Last thing before we go, the Extra Time Radio podcast came out on Thursday. You can log on to MLSsoccer.com and catch that. And Greg, we had Luke Wildman from TSN, the play-by-play voice for MLS broadcast for them up in Canada, as well as Eric Soler, the sporting director for New York Red Bulls. What did you take away from this show?
Well, I think Luke Wildman did a great job of explaining what's going on with Toronto and what these big names can bring for them. He also didn't necessarily shoot down any of the rumors that maybe there will be a little bit of a coaching change, that maybe Aaron Vinter will just go directly up into the management position and let Bob DeClercq take the full coaching position there. And then from Eric Soler, just very interesting that they are always keeping their eyes open for more players. However, they're not actively pursuing a third DP at this time.
And Eric Soler did also talk about the goalkeeping situation for New York and said that might be a situation that they have to address. Again, you can log on to MLSsoccer.com for that or download it on iTunes. And Buzzsprout, for all the latest coverage of this weekend's action, log on to MLSsoccer.com and have a great holiday weekend.